Hey everyone, Jordan El-Hag here from El-Hag and Associates PC. We are a labor and employment law firm located in White Plains, New York, and we only represent working men and women. We do not represent business owners. So, if you are somebody who's having some legal problems in the workplace, feel free to give us a call and we will point you in the right direction. Now, today we're going to be talking about a very important topic, which is how you can win your lawsuit. And there's really only two things that you need to know in order to dramatically increase the probability of success. The first is that you start building your case from the second you think your rights may have been violated. And the second thing is, don't do anything to screw up your lawsuit. And we'll talk about both of those right now. So what do I mean by you need to start building your case from the second you think your rights have been violated? What that means is that you need to start collecting evidence to support your case from the moment you think something is wrong. You can't wait until this bad thing happens to you because it's going to be too late. And when I say build your case, what I'm talking about is collecting evidence. That's how you build a case. So an example of this is, let's say your coworker came up to you and said, man, you're not going to believe what I saw this weekend. I saw our supervisor at the bar and he was drinking with some friends and he was making so many racist comments. I had no idea, but this guy's the biggest bigot that I've ever seen. I mean, it was like, I can't even explain it. He said this and this and that. Let's say he was talking about African Americans and you're an African American. At that moment, your rights in the workplace haven't been violated, right? Nothing bad has happened to you yet. But you should really be suspicious because if this supervisor is in charge of, promotions, raises, your working conditions, there might be a chance that his personal feelings are going to influence how he treats you, right? So what do? You don't just do nothing about it, right? So you should start collecting evidence. How can you do that? You can go to your coworker and ask him to give a statement. If you're afraid to do that or you think it's going to turn him off, you could send a indiscreet email saying, or a text message saying, man, I can't believe that you heard so-and-so making those comments, saying that about, African Americans. Was anybody else there? And if he says like, no, it was just me. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe he was saying those things. You just got this person to put in writing a inadvertent admission that he was a witness to this conduct. So now later on, if you bring a lawsuit and you want to call this person as a witness and he says, well, I don't remember what happened, or no, that never happened, you can show that email and say, wait a minute, don't you remember this email exchange, this text message exchange or this email exchange? And put it in their face. And they're then put in a position where they're either lying under oath or they're going to have to admit to what they saw, which is what you need to win a lawsuit. So the best cases I have are when people call me up and they're still working and they're afraid something bad's going to happen to them. And I say, okay, well, we don't have a lawsuit yet, but you can prepare. Here's what we need to do. Start collecting evidence. And what do? They start recording people. They start taking pictures. They start taking videos. They start keeping a diary of people who are treated differently than they are. They do as much as they can, so when something eventually does happen to them, they're in a very strong position to win a lawsuit. And when you're in that position of strength, you get much better settlements and much better outcomes, right? This is much better than someone calling me up and like, oh yeah, I got fired and I think it was unfair. And I say, okay, do you have any witnesses? Well, my coworker, he overheard some of the supervisors making racist comments at a bar. Great, will he come forward? No, I don't think so. I don't think he wants to lose his job. I talked to him and he said he didn't want to get involved. What do? Then it's just your theory. You don't even have evidence to prove your case. So don't put yourself in that position. The number one thing is build the case as early as possible and don't rely on anybody else. Now, the second most important thing that you need to remember is don't do something that's going to screw up your case. What does that mean? Don't be the type of person that gets fired and says that they're now suffering from depression and can't get out of bed, but then every weekend you're going to a club and posting on Facebook and Instagram that you're having the best time and you're out drinking with your friends and life is great and live life to the fullest. If you do that, you're going to lose your lawsuit because you're going to look like a liar. People do this stuff all the time. They don't think people are watching. They don't realize that Facebook and Instagram and things like that aren't personal, that they're public, that in a lawsuit someone gets access to all that stuff. It's common sense. Don't post up things that are going to harm you in your life. If you're going to get involved in a lawsuit, you need to act accordingly to the claims in your lawsuit. I'm not saying file a lawsuit and make things up. If you're having a good time and you're not depressed, don't claim that you're depressed. What I'm saying is, if you're really suffering from depression, then, and you're going to post things on Facebook, post things about you being depressed. You shouldn't even do that anyway. You shouldn't talk to anyone about your lawsuit. You shouldn't talk to friends or family. They're going to get dragged into it. Everyone becomes a witness. Nothing is privilege except your communications with your lawyer in general. So the smartest thing to do is keep everything to yourself and act in a way that's consistent with the claims you're making in your lawsuit. If you do that, then you're going to have a much better chance of not undermining your own case. Okay, so that's really about it. If you remember those two things, I guarantee you that your success in your lawsuits is going to go through the roof. If you're considering bringing a lawsuit and you can take these steps, then do it, because you're going to end up much happier with the outcome. And we try to keep these videos as short as possible. Even this is a little long. So if you have any questions, you can always contact us. And if you like the video, please share it and subscribe to our page or our Facebook page, wherever you saw it, Instagram, because the more that working people are aware of their rights, the better off they're all going to be. So as always, thanks for tuning in and see you next time.